Alright, today we're going to break down a really powerful content strategy called source-first publishing. I'm talking about a system designed to get you off that content hamster wheel once and for all, and instead start building assets that actually grow in value over time. Let's dig in and see how it works. Does this feel a little too familiar? You know the feeling, right? That constant grind of creating one-off pieces for every single platform, always starting from scratch, and feeling like you're never ever getting ahead. It's such a common trap. But thankfully, there is a much smarter way to do this. So picture this. On one side, you've got the typical process. It's just chaotic, right? Totally inefficient, with every piece of content living in its own little world. But on the other side, you have the source-first model, one single powerful source that systematically fuels everything else. I mean, the difference is truly night and day. So how do we actually get there? Well, it starts with a whole new mindset, a new way of thinking. We're going to call it the first domino strategy. The whole idea is to focus all your energy on that one key piece that, once you push it, topples a whole series of others almost automatically. And this is the heart of it right here. Source-first publishing is all about creating one single definitive source asset. Usually this is a big comprehensive article on your own website, and that one piece becomes the engine for everything else you create, from social media posts all the way to videos. And that's the whole point, really. You create this one definitive piece that becomes the go-to reference. It's the thing everyone on your team quotes, it's what partners link to, and it's what machines can easily find and index. It centralizes all your updates and means every single tweet, every video, every little thing you make points back to one solid authoritative record. Okay, so how do we actually build this foundational asset? And look, this isn't just about banging out some super long article. It has to be engineered from the very beginning for maximum impact and reusability. Let's take a look at the blueprint. It really boils down to three absolutely essential pillars. First, you have to start with a specific question your user is asking. Second, you answer that question immediately with something called a short answer. And third, you design the entire piece so it can be easily understood by both humans and machines. Okay, let's zoom in on that short answer for a second, because this is a total game changer. It's a direct standalone answer to the main question, and you want it to be somewhere between 40 and 60 words. This little snippet is just the perfect length for a human reader to scan and for an AI assistant or a search engine to grab and quote. And hey, there's even a simple but super powerful formula for it. A perfect short answer does three things. It makes one clear claim, backs it up with a solid metric or fact, and then gives the reader one immediate action they can take. It's concise, it's valuable, and it's instantly useful. And that brings us to that third pillar, making sure your content speaks two languages. On the surface, for your human readers, it's just simple HTML. But behind the scenes, you need to mirror all that key information in structured data like JSONLD, so machines can understand it, parse it, and cite it properly. Alright, so you've built your awesome source asset. Now comes the magic. Let's shift over to the distribution phase and see how this one single piece becomes a content engine for all your channels, without you ever having to start from scratch again. So here's how you need to think about it. Every single well-structured section of your article, a heading, a short answer, a couple of bullet points, think of it like a content atom. It's a self-contained, totally reusable block of information that you can pull out and repurpose anywhere. And get this. Here's the predictable payoff. A single, well-designed section, one of those atoms, can reliably generate somewhere between 3 and 7 different derivative assets. This isn't just guesswork, it's a system. It produces a consistent return from your initial work. So what does that actually look like? Well, that one little content atom can become a tweet, or maybe the opener for a whole thread. It could be a 3 to 5 slide carousel for Instagram or LinkedIn, a really sharp looking quote card, or even the script for a quick 30-second video. The heavy lifting is already done. This is about so much more than just saving time. It's about building an asset that literally grows in value. Let's talk about the long-term return on investment this strategy creates, because that, my friends, is where it truly shines. Just think about the return you get on your effort. The ROI on all that one-off content is basically flat. You do the work, you get a little bump, and then it's over. But with Source First Publishing, the value actually compounds. Every derivative asset you create points back to the source, building its authority and visibility week after week, month after month. What you're doing here is creating this amazing feedback loop, a virtuous circle. Your high-quality source gets cited more and more by search engines and AI assistants. And all those citations act as trust signals, which leads to even greater prominence, which leads to more citations. Your authority just snowballs. Okay, so you're probably thinking, this sounds great, but how do I even start without redoing my entire content plan? The key is to start small, with a manageable pilot project. Let's break down the exact steps you can take, like this week. Here's your playbook for what we'll call a thin slice pilot. First, pick one high-intent question that your audience is always asking. Second, publish one well-structured article that answers it, and make sure you include the proper schema. Third, the very next day, pull at least 6 derivative assets from it. And finally, watch and measure the results for 6 weeks to see the impact. See, this whole approach changes content from being a chore into a really smart compounding investment. It brings order to all the chaos and turns one single effort into dozens of wins. So really, the only question left is, what will your first domino be?